She built an empire out of pimples. What started as a small dermatology office in Southern California turned into a global brand with billions of views. Millions trusted her with their skin, their scars, their most personal insecurities. But then came a moment no one saw coming. Cameras were rolling. Patients were waiting. And in the middle of it all, Dr. Sandra Lee experienced something terrifying, without anyone in the room realizing it. So how did everything almost fall apart in plain sight? It was supposed to be a normal day. At her clinic in Upland, everything was in motion. Lights, cameras, patients from all over the country hoping she could change their lives. And she was doing what she always did. Calm. Focused. In control. But then something shifted. A sudden wave of heat. Not normal. Not expected. Her body felt off. Her thoughts felt cloudy. Still, she pushed through. Finished her work. Told herself it was nothing serious. Maybe just a hot flash. But was it really that simple? That evening, she went to her parents' house nearby. But something wasn't right. She couldn't relax. Her legs started sending sharp, shooting pains. She tried to ignore it. Tried to move on. Then came the moment that changed everything. Walking down the stairs felt wrong. Her balance was off. Her legs weren't responding the way they should. She didn't sleep that night. And by morning, the fear she had been avoiding finally caught up with her. But what she noticed next was impossible to ignore. She looked at her left hand. Slowly, it collapsed on its own. No control. No strength. Then she tried to speak. The words came out wrong. Slurred. Confused. That's when the thought hit her. Am I having a stroke? And here's what makes this even more shocking. She's a doctor. She knows the signs. Face drooping. Weakness. Trouble speaking. Loss of balance. She had almost all of them. And still, she nearly talked herself out of going to the hospital. Why would someone with all that knowledge hesitate in a moment like this? The answer is more common than you think. For many women, stroke symptoms don't look the way people expect. They feel like something else. Fatigue. Sweating. Restlessness. Easy to dismiss. Easy to explain away. Especially in your 50s. That's exactly what she did at first. But someone else saw the truth immediately. Her father. A doctor himself. He looked at her and didn't hesitate. He told her to go to the emergency room right away. And that decision may have saved her life. But what doctors found next was even more serious than she feared. The MRI confirmed it. A full ischemic stroke. A blood clot had cut off oxygen to part of her brain. And once that happens, time becomes everything. Every minute, millions of brain cells die. There's no undoing it. No reset. Just damage that stays with you. And then came the words that hit the hardest. She said it herself. A part of my brain died. Think about that for a second. What does that mean for someone whose entire career depends on precision, control, and communication? Her hands. Her voice. Her focus. Everything she built her career on was suddenly at risk. The steady hands that performed delicate procedures. The calm voice patients trusted. The confidence millions saw on screen. All of it was under attack at once. And when she looked back, the warning signs had been there all along. High blood pressure. High cholesterol. Stress. She knew it. But like so many people, she kept going anyway. So here's the uncomfortable question. How many of us are doing the same thing right now? Doctors are seeing more cases like hers. People in their 40s, 50s, pushing themselves too hard for too long. Ignoring the signals. Assuming they'll deal with it later. Until later becomes too late. And in her case, everything stopped instantly. Filming halted. A major TV season paused. A growing empire suddenly frozen. The woman who solved problems for everyone else had no control over what was happening inside her own body. But to really understand what she almost lost, You have to go back to where it all began. Her story starts long before YouTube, long before television. Her father, working in a rural clinic in Malaysia, struggling to understand skin diseases. He had one tool, a small borrowed book. He would step behind a curtain, flip through its pages, and try to figure things out. That curiosity turned into a career. That career brought him to the United States. And eventually, it shaped his daughter's life. But here's the twist. Her path wasn't as smooth as you might think. She didn't even match into dermatology at first. The very field she grew up in. The one her father built his life around. She was rejected. Forced to rethink everything. For a moment, she considered a completely different path. But she didn't give up. She found her way back. Finished her training. Took over her father's practice. And then, she made a decision that would change everything. But could she have predicted what it would lead to? In 2010, she started a YouTube channel. At first, almost no one cared. It was quiet, professional, easy to ignore. Then one day, she posted a simple video. A blackhead extraction. It went viral. People couldn't look away. And suddenly, a niche idea turned into a global obsession. Millions watched. Then billions. Her nickname, Dr. Pimple Popper, became a brand. A business. A phenomenon. But success like that comes with a cost. And that cost was building quietly in the background. She kept going. More videos. More patients. More shows. A skincare line. Awards. Fame. The pace never slowed. And that was the problem. Because while everything outside was growing, something inside was breaking. And then, in one moment, her body forced everything to stop. So what happens when someone who never stops is suddenly forced to? Recovery was slow. Painful. Uncertain. For 2 months, she didn't operate. Didn't film. Basic tasks became challenges. Walking straight. Holding steady. Even speaking felt different. Her left hand, the one she depends on, wasn't the same. And that fear stayed with her. What if it never fully comes back? What if she can't do what she spent her entire life doing? When she finally returned to work, it wasn't easy. Walking back into the same room where it happened brought fear with it. The cameras. The lights. The pressure. Everything felt different. Because this time, she knew something she couldn't ignore anymore. A stroke doesn't just disappear. The damage doesn't reverse. You don't go back to who you were. So how do you move forward when you know that? She had a choice. Keep it private. Say nothing. Let the world assume everything was fine. And for a while, she did exactly that. No one outside her inner circle knew. She kept working. Filming. Smiling. But eventually, she made a different decision. She told the truth. And that decision might be one of the most powerful things she's ever done. But why share something so personal, so vulnerable, with the world? Because where she comes from, stories like this are often hidden. In many cultures, a stroke is seen as weakness. Something to keep quiet. Something to move past without discussion. But she chose the opposite. She spoke openly. Not for sympathy. Not for attention. But to warn others. To make sure people don't ignore the signs the way she almost did. And that raises one final question. How many lives could that honesty actually save? Today, she's back. On screen. Working again. Her hands steady enough. Her voice close to what it was. From the outside, it looks like a full recovery. But the truth is more complicated. Because something has changed. Not just physically, but mentally. A new awareness. A new perspective. One she didn't have before. She calls it a blessing in disguise. Not because it was easy. But Becca,